And welcome back to the Don't Make This Awkward podcast with Irma Thurman. Just kidding. This is Don't Make This Weird. Thank you guys for joining us tonight. We're on every Thursday at 8 p.m. That was weird. That's my little voice I do on the Mitch Gill Show.
What the hell was that?
Joining me in studio tonight, as always.
This weird,
right? Always joining me as always. See, now I can't even talk, which is not unusual. Tony Bradley.
How is that any different from any other Thursday?
Yeah,
it's a good point. Tony Bradley is joining us. Oh, somebody's got their phone
live in studio.
Turn the volume.
You know, it's like back in the radio days. Turn your radio down.
Oh, it still happens. People will call in and
caller number 7. Please turn down your radio.
It happens. Joni. I quit.
You're fired.
I made it awkward already. Tony's joining me. We've got Becky actually in Chris's seat tonight.
Yep, I'm filling in for Chris.
Chris is away. We have Nate in the studio.
Hello.
Todd, who I'm trying to convince to be our intern on the Survivor Girl podcast.
Yeah.
And our special guest, Jeremy Scott Gibbs.
Ooh, I feel so special. Yeah.
Welcome back. You're a repeat offender.
I am.
What's wrong with you?
We're not paying for
you know
therapy.
what?
Right.
I fell in love with Tony years ago, and he just won't let me go.
I wish I could quit you.
You can't.
You can't quit him.
You can't quit him.
I love you guys. This is a great podcast, and I when I found out that Tony was doing it, because we've over the years we've lost touch with each other, and then reconnected, and but the friendship was always there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that we gotta talk about that later on too. Yes. We'll talk about that later. But
the light came on again.
Oh boy.
Oh yeah.
It's like better than a magic 8-ball.
I know, right?
Very cool. See? Bing. That's a good idea. I've got my father-in-law, I've inherited the barn, the man cave Tony's been to, and we've mentioned it on the show before.
Right.
Love that place.
And there is a cutout of a cartoon, and I think it's Arlo. Who is it? Arlo and Lois or something like that. What's the couple that always go back and forth? Anyways, the dude's in the shower in the first frame.
Yeah.
And then he has the light bulb of idea goes on. And then the next frame he's drying off. And then he looks back, the final frame, he looks back at the shower and he says, "I'm pretty sure that's a code violation." Of the light bulb being in the shower. So whenever I see a light bulb, I'm like, bing. I'm like, that's probably a code violation.
That's funny. Oh my gosh.
So thank you for making me feel special.
You are special, Jeremy. We're glad that you're back in the studio with us special people.
Episode 88.
88, you guys. And we're still not telling what happens after episode 100.
Yeah, well, first rule,
Not
Make This Weird is we don't talk about Don't Make This Weird.
Right.
Video.
Oh. Tiffany says, hello, people. Hey, Tiffany. Thanks for joining us. And everybody else that's in chat tonight, thank you guys for jumping on board and hanging out with us.
Absolutely.
While I screw up saying things. And
so how was your week, Heather?
Ooh, that is a good question. My week has been chaotic.
Yeah.
So Makar, that likes to have many things happen to it, happened this week again. On the way downstate, it started to sound like a lawnmower.
That's a completely different than a vehicle.
Yeah. Started to sound like a lawnmower, and I'm like, yeah, we're not getting on the expressway like this. It's not going to happen. Luckily, we made it safe back home. Becky helped us to drop off the car and then loan the car to her vehicle to us, which is awesome.
Got us in a golden chariot.
Right. So we appreciate that. That's awesome. We're glad.
I feel like how she was so subtle about that.
Yeah.
Just completely nonchalant.
As she sends me a picture of her in a tinfoil hat to begin with, which is great.
She was sitting at my kitchen table, mind you, and she's like, "Hey, do you have some aluminum foil?" And I'm like, "Ma!"
She was so hesitant to hand it to me. She's like, "What are you gonna do with it?" I'm like, "You'll see.
I'm making something special.
Watch this."
You about to find out now, boy.
So that happened.
Aluminium foil.
So that happened, and the Survivor Girl podcast has been blowing up. So
Holy cow.
Shout out to the podcast.
Shamelessly promoting.
Oh, absolutely.
Shamelessly promoting.
You know, it's
Seriously,
crazy.
you guys are like just exploding.
It's been nuts.
And the support that I've seen on the page is incredible. You guys post those daily inspirational quotes or whatever they are. And I'm going, man, I should do something with the Don't Make This Weird podcast.
You know that
it's
social
cool.
media attraction is huge.
It is so cool to see that, you know, you guys are what, episode 2?
Yes.
Yes, we are episode 2,
and just it's incredible.
It's been really awesome to have the feedback from other people letting us know that we are helping them out positively, and that they don't feel alone. And that right there was the whole reason. Not just to tell our story, really, because first and foremost, it's really to have other people feel like they're not alone and to be able to tell their story. So I mean, if you go with that, I think that's why we're having such a great success with it, because people feel that we're real, you know. Well,
I mean, not to bring up somebody else, but we're contractually obligated. We have to. At Mitch Gill's Get a Room Comedy Club show.
Right. Yeah.
You had people there.
Yeah.
Like seeking you out and going, hey, that's the Survivor girls.
Right.
The Becky and Heather.
Gotta get some t-shirts.
Right.
That is in the works.
Those are in the works.
To highly offensive hoodies.
Highly offensive hoodies, which Roxanne is joining us right now. She says, hello, everyone.
Hey,
Hi,
Roxanne.
Roxanne is actually going to be on our show. And she's got one hell of a story that she's going to share with us. Awesome. And her and I have been talking a little bit, and Becky and her have actually been talking.
Yes.
And
that's awesome.
She's super cool person. She was able to join us at the Mitch Gill's Get a Room Comedy Club. And she had a lot of fun. So she had mentioned about sweatshirts through highly offensive hoodies. So she took our logo and actually is making Becky and I 2 hoodies with the logo on it. And we just want to support her and support what she's doing with that. So if you guys go to Facebook, check out Highly Offensive Hoodies. They are posting up new hoodies, I think, every week, or 2 new hoodies every week. Yeah. And they got a lot of attention with their hoodies when they came in.
Oh, yes, they did.
Adam actually was laughing so hard because her husband had one on that said, your mom was here, and an arrow pointing down. So that was awesome. Nice. Great stuff, guys. So go check them out.
Give them a like and the share.
Yeah, they're doing something cool. They're doing things with these hoodies that we're all thinking.
Of course.
Yes.
That we want to say, but we're all thinking it. So come on.
So Derek, go to Highly Offensive Hoodies on Facebook and give them a like, and there you can order.
For sure. Yeah. Go check that out, guys. Tiffany, or wait, hold on. Let me see here. Kenna says hi. Hey, Kenna.
What's up, Kenna?
Hey, Kenna.
Tiffany says, no, probably just hate the time zone and makes me nuts, but it's life because would not want to miss our favorite people. Thank you for joining us. Yeah. Derek said, I want a highly offensive hoodie. Yes, Becky just told you where to go.
I like telling
more than one way.
Like telling Derek where to go.
Right. Kenna said she's getting her friends to come and watch the podcast, come listen to us. And Derek is listening while shop vacuum the water mess under the broken kitchen sink.
There you go.
# need a new house.
Oh, we might be able to hook you up with someone, Derek.
Yeah, there you go.
Just saying.
Go. Sasha also just joined in and said hello, guys. So
what's up,
I think
Sasha?
I'm caught up with the chat now, guys. Thank you for tuning in. We love you guys.
Wait a minute. He's using his shop vac to clean up a broken sink.
This is Derek we're talking about?
No, here's the question I have to ask. Okay, so I've seen enough porn through the 80s and 90s that generally when there's a plumber involved, you're not using a shop vac. Or maybe you are, but
and I don't think he's fixing anything really.
Something's getting snaked. That's all I'm saying.
I don't think you can fix plumbing with your whole ass out instead of just your crap. Just saying. But who am I to judge? Who am I to judge on that one? But
Roto Rooter. The way go troubles down the drain. Roto Rooter.
And we are not sponsored by Roto Rooter or by the Naked Plumber. Just saying.
Do we offend somebody?
No.
Oh, okay.
I'm just putting it out there just in case.
I'm hoping to be the first one to put one on the list.
Oh, the list.
Yeah.
But before we get too far with that, Tony, how's your week been?
Yeah.
How's your week?
I'm pleased to report I'm still alive and sucking air. So that's kind of a good thing.
It's a good thing.
I've actually had a crazy busy week. Becky's actually been my co-pilot for most of it.
Yeah.
And we've been here, there, and everywhere.
Yes.
Awesome. I think every local game store no longer carries dollar bags.
And you're welcome.
Yeah, she has now decided that Magic is a new addiction. Magic the Gathering cards.
Yes.
He's converted.
No. See, here's the thing. I simply pointed her in the direction. Now she is the rookie owning everybody at the table.
She's doing awesome.
And I still owe you an ass whooping.
Hey, bring it.
Ouch. And perfect timing.
She's handed me many.
Perfect timing. Hi, Dad. My father is joining in the chat as well.
Tunes in at the announcement of
Every
ass
time.
whooping.
That's right.
Ode to Tony.
Every time. So
At least she didn't come in during the snaking.
Yeah, this
True.
is true.
Oh, he might have.
His
and
ears
then-
were burning then.
Yeah, he might
Yeah.
have been was like, I'm just gonna say hello now.
I was going to say that's okay. Have you read Derek's comments?
I have not. I'm trying to hear what the weeks have been like.
Oh no! Please go ahead.
So Derek says, I'm too long in the tooth to sell my body for a new house. And then he said Tony is old. Kenna said, hey, Tony
You
is
could probably
awesome.
get a tent.
Yeah.
Right.
Sasha says, I'm the only one who would be using towels to clean it up. And Derek says, Becky is the pilot. She don't co-pilot. She is in charge. Capital charge.
Well, I do have tilt steering, so I mean,
Oh my goodness.
Just don't have the same autopilot
Don't make this
Right,
that they
awkward.
had on the new planes because you're just
yeah, that's not okay.
So I'm glad that
But in defense, Derek learned a long time ago that I was the head bitch in charge.
Well,
And you don't fuck with Texas.
That's right. I mean, all I'm saying is those two things from Texas, steers and queers, and I don't really see any horns, Becky.
Ooh.
wow.
Wow.
And I can say that because I spent significant time in Texas. I have family down there.
Denise is tuning in too. She says,
What?
"What we leave and it gets kinky." Denise, I am loving your guys' vacation pictures. We are so glad that you guys are having a good time. You both deserve it.
It is
Super
awesome.
jealous of the food, even though I don't like fish.
You don't like fish. She mentioned that today. She's like, the food looks so good.
Well,
So,
hopefully you guys are getting enough sun and staying
Dehydrated?
blah, 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 blah.
You're welcome.
You
Desalinated.
It's
and fully
contagious,
hydrated.
oh no.
Thank you.
It's going around the studio, guys.
That's why we like the Great Lakes because they're shark free and
Not so
Unsalted.
salty.
That's right.
Not salty.
Yeah.
Like my life.
Anyway, shout out to Denise and Chris. Hope you guys are having a
We
blast
miss you.
on your vacation.
and it's
yeah.
not my fault that it got kinky just because I'm here.
No,
It was
we're
all
gonna blame
Becky.
Derek. No, it's Derek's fault.
I thought you were the one that was in charge here.
So back to the weeks. I'm curious. I want to know how everybody's week's been.
No, my week's actually been really incredible. And
Awesome.
I'm saying that because in the studio here, you guys know that I've had a pretty shitty string of weeks over the past month and a half or so. And it's nice because there's finally a light at the end of the tunnel that's not a freight train.
That's good. That is really good, little buddy. Because I get worried about that.
Well, I mean, sometimes you just have to have your tribe around you remind you that you actually are insane and that's okay.
Oh yeah, that happens. We're all a little bit insane. I mean, look at where we're at right now.
We're all mad here.
We're all mad here.
We're all mad here.
Becky, how's your week been?
My week has been amazing.
Good.
Get to spend time with the amazing tribe and help out when there's one in the tribe who needs the help.
And Becky, you've been awesome. You've been
Awesome.
stepping up, and we all appreciate you being around and hanging out and stepping up and being on the podcast. Thank you for
I was
You know.
thrown under the bus repeatedly.
bump bump.
I mean, a
No.
bus has got a lot of clearance under it.
No, it was more like bump, 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 bump.
Oh, yeah.
They backed up a couple of times. So
It was an 18-wheeler.
And
El squishy.
how's your week been, Nate?
Intense.
That's
Yeah.
good. Nate, I just got to say, while we're on, I'm going to get mushy.
uh,
Nate has stepped up and is actually in the captain's seat for the Survivor Girl podcast.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I just want to say that we appreciate you, and we're awesome that you're helping out. We're awesome. We're
He's-
awesome that you're helping us.
He's totally knocking out of the park, and it's so
Yes.
funny to watch him across the room, and he's just like,
Well, we had some technical difficulties on the last show, and it was not his fault at all. Actually, he hit the record, so we're able to
That was for the garbage can.
we're able to render it down and put it
Good
up.
shot.
It's not the full episode, unfortunately, but if anybody did listen to that episode, before we go any further, I do have to say Crystal LaFay's story was incredible.
oh yeah,
And she just recently posted, if you guys missed it, she posted her newest scan of her brain because she did have a brain tumor and a hemorrhage.
Yeah.
And it is now the size of a pea, and you can see the difference in that just by what she's been doing for healing. And
That's
it's
awesome.
It's incredible.
yeah, and it was like
So-
what, the size of a 50-cent piece when it
Yeah.
started.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So,
I mean, it's-
incredible story.
Yes.
Mhm.
So if you guys, we're working on getting that, what we have of that podcast posted. So that will be
Yes.
up. And I think for our very last, for our year episode, I want her to come back. We want her to come back. And,
Yes,
absolutely.
follow
Yeah.
up with,
Awesome.
So anyway, I just seen that, and it was just like very moving because, that story is crazy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
But yeah. So, and Jeremy, how's your week been?
My week has been very relaxing. This is the first week in about 3 that I've actually been home.
Oh my gosh.
I've been down in Indiana
Yeah.
doing work for the last 3 weeks, and now my construction work is starting to pick up
Yeah.
here in Michigan. James, I helped James move.
Love James.
so
Shout out
he's-
to James.
Shout out to James.
Love
He
it,
is
Keisha.
officially moved to Michigan in their new house. We'll be having a housewarming party
Sweet.
in May.
Awesome.
And having that. But my week's been great. I actually got to play hockey for the first time in 3.5 weeks
Oh my
Wow.
gosh.
and did pretty well. I started out really, really strong, won the first game. My defense helped me lose the second game, and then the third game was a little bit of a nail biter, but it's all drop in, so nobody
Yeah.
it's all a bunch of guys and we hang out afterwards. But
That's cool.
so my week was good. Catching up on things at home,
Yeah.
catching up, stuff. And
When you're
But yeah,
away, that's hard.
this is my first. This weekend coming up is my first weekend where I don't have my weekend completely booked out.
yeah.
Like I'm like, what are you doing on Saturday? You know what? I think I'm going to see a movie, and then after that, I can do what I want, not what I have to do. So my week has been
I got
Very
one
good.
thing for you.
what?
Lounge pants.
Lounge pants! Lounge pants!
Lounge pants for the weekend. Wear the
Oh,
lounge pants.
I was telling Chicago and Wojo at hockey yesterday. I said, I don't think a week goes by and they don't get a lounge pants.
Oh, yeah.
on the podcast.
Somebody's
or on the
throwing it up.
chat. I love it. I'm like, I'll have to retell that story one day. And
Yeah,
Yes, the
absolutely.
lounge pants. So Jeremy, you have been really busy with some other than just doing your work. You've got some pretty cool stuff happening.
I do, and it's been something that's been on me to do for a long time. I've done a number of things before. Obviously, if anybody knows me out there, if you check out stuff, I've done a ton of church work.
Yeah.
And I love doing that. I love encouraging people and building people up, and of course having a relationship with God and
Right.
getting to know yourself. But I've never been that religious person.
Right.
I want you to be grounded and centered. And my philosophy has always been that if I help you figure out who you are, then you'll eventually connect with God because he's the one who created you. So to me, it's like either I'm going to help you connect with God or I'm going to help you connect with yourself,
Right.
but you're going to end up in that relationship either way. And the bottom line is the relationships we have with each other
Right.
are a reflection of the relationship with God. And I've seen some people that claim to have a relationship with God and they don't have any good relationship with the people. And I'm like, no, that doesn't work. If
Right.
you don't have a good relationship with, and so anyways, out of that, I've wanted to do a number of other things that aren't strictly church oriented.
Right.
Okay. And I've done I have 24-week classes that I've done that are on the internet. I've done 15-week, literally like college courses that
Yeah.
I've done on leadership that I developed the curriculum for. And
Nice.
so I've done a lot of stuff like that. Tony knows.
Yeah.
And I've got several of my own teaching series that I have where, we made the discs and did all the jacket covers and everything like that. And, and we, when I go to a conference, I've got one coming up in a couple weeks middle of May. Mm-hmm. I literally take my table there and we sell that, those teachings because they're very encouraging. Cool. But again, I've wanted to do some other things because I'm into music and I'm into movies and I'm into, just a ton of other things that excite me, not that God doesn't excite me, but I mean, there's just, I'm not a one-dimensional person. Right. I got a ton of stuff that I want to do. Yeah. And so about 6 to 8 months ago, I started thinking about it. I'm like, what do I want to do? And you remember the old PSA for drugs back in the 80s?
Was it today?
And it was the guy, he would come on there and he was really angry and he's like, okay, last time, does anyone not know what drugs do? And he goes, okay. And he holds up an egg and he goes, this is your brain. Yes. And then he holds the fry and he goes, and he puts an butter in the pan and it starts sizzling and this is drugs. And he cracks the egg and puts it in there and then the egg starts frying and he picks it up. Any questions? Yep. I remember that. And so I was like, man, I want to do something like, this is your brain. This is your brain on drugs, And I was like, dude, that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm going to call it. This is your brain. Yeah. And so the thing was, I looked up that video and there's so many people that comment on it. Yeah. Remember we looked it up? Yeah. And they're like, can I have my brain scrambled with a side of bacon? And I mean, everybody on there's mocking this 80s PSA video and how this guy, they're like, man, you're so angry. Right. And so I said, man, I gotta figure this out. So right now, Nate, you were giving kudos to Nate. I have to give huge kudos to Nate because Nate stepped up and is simultaneously now my intern. Right. He literally took the tower computer. I dropped it off to Tony and he has completed all the editing. And so what you have to realize is Tony and I sat down and did 7 hours. Mm-hmm.
8.5 actually.
8.5? Is that where we ended up at? Yeah. Okay. 8.5 hours. Thank you, Tony. Of 3 separate episodes of just on music. With Tony and I doing music, and because I was in Indiana, I couldn't get to it. Yeah. And so Nate stepped up and has done the editing. So we've got to do just a couple little B-roll video shots for the intro. Yeah. Where we take an egg and we want to do a slow-mo shot where we take a frying pan and swat the egg out of the air and see it exploding in slow-mo. And Vince has been doing a bunch of slow-mos. Nice. And so that's what we're working on. We already did the audio for it, and Tony actually it was awesome. Al sat down on the drums and did this great roll and fill, and then Tony did the guitar part for it. So it's set up. Yeah. We just got to get going. I'm working on the website and then everything like that. So I'm figuring now that I'm home, I'm probably about 2 weeks out from being able to do that, maybe 3. But once we get rolling on that, part of my delay on getting that out there is because once we get it out, I don't want to lose momentum. I want to keep it going. And my podcast, which is different from your guys, is I'm very visual. Yeah. And so we're doing the stuff that we did, Tony, was a 4-camera shoot. Yeah. Nice. And so that's what Nate's been editing is the 4 different camera angles and putting them all together. But that's coming up, and it's my brain on, our episodes of Tony have been music. I want to do, my brain on just a 1,000 different topics.
Yeah. A suggestion in chat from Derek. This is my brain on Don't Make This Weird. Yeah.
Well, there'll be a crossover for sure. Absolutely. So we're working on some of that logistics, but I'm very excited about it because, Tony and I sit and we talk about 1,000 different things, and just have great conversations. And I said, man, I want to share that side of me. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
I want to be able, I can be in a locker room with a bunch of hockey buddies and we can talk about hockey or we can talk about life or we can talk about whatever. And it's like, I love doing church stuff. Don't get me wrong, but I also love doing a lot of other things. And I'm just like, I want to be able to do all of that stuff. And I don't think that I'm compromising any one of them by being able to, I'm creating another expression in this. Go ahead, Tom.
Going back to what you were saying about not being one-dimensional. I mean, that's the thing is when you're around creative people, they're so multifaceted. Yeah. When it comes to their likes, their dislikes, their opinions, their facts, how they have educated themselves over the course of the years. And how can you not be in a conversation that's here, there, and everywhere.
Absolutely.
With creative people, because you're seeing it from multiple perspectives. And, I thought it was really cool when we did, all the pre-production stuff for those 3 episodes.
Yeah.
Of catching it from 4 different camera angles.
Right.
And you really learn a lot about, not only the other person that you're talking to, but you learn a lot about yourself in the context of the conversation.
Oh, absolutely.
Where it was like, wow, that I didn't realize that's how my brain works.
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of the idea, is like, this is my brain on whatever subject. And it's literally what's in your brain. And so you and I have conversed back and forth about a number of topics that we want to do. And that'll be the title, this is my brain on, we talk about friendship, and this is my brain, what true friends are like, because we've been friends for 15, 16 years. And, there's been seasons that we haven't been in contact, and then we get back into contact, and it's like, we just catch up on what we've missed.
Yeah.
And there's
no time has passed.
No time has passed.
Right.
I mean, that's true friends.
Right.
So
That's
I'm
awesome.
really
I like
excited
it.
about that stuff. Is that enough of a, did I fill everybody in?
I love it. I like the whole concept of it. It's really cool. I'm looking forward to seeing those.
Absolutely.
Are you going to be doing it through YouTube, or what platform?
That's one of the sticking points. I'm going to do it through YouTube, and I'm going to do it through Facebook Live.
Nice.
Or Facebook rebroadcast, or however that works, because we're not going live yet.
Right.
I have the software to go live, but I have to have some in-studio help to be able to do that. You know what I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
Right.
Especially with 4 or 5 cameras, depending on how many people are there. But primarily it'll be through YouTube. But one of my things that I'm holding back, or that I've been researching a lot on, is I want to be able to host in a different site, because I don't want to say something on YouTube and have those assholes all of a sudden kick me off because I said something they don't like. And now all of my archive, I mean, I know of a number of different people, pretty high profile people, where their stuff, not only did they get kicked off, striked, but their whole archive is gone because they're not hosting it themselves. So I'm in contact with a couple tech gurus. And so I may be getting a fiber optic line back to the man cave.
Nice.
And some blade servers to where we can actually have our own micro host and not have to rely on YouTube. We'll still post it to YouTube and still do stuff.
Yeah.
But I want my own website to have my stuff on it, my own portal. And then I'm not worried about paying all this bandwidth for somebody else to host stuff. We just throw another blade server in there and we're storing our stuff. So I'm working on that.
That's great.
And that'll benefit all of us, because once I figure that stuff out, then it's going to translate.
That's cool. Very cool. I like it.
Yeah. So it'll be on there. I'm going to start doing, once I know we've got the promo, the intro done, I'm going to shoot that out on Facebook and on YouTube, and I'm going to start using it as a promo, and I'm going to sit down real quick and just do some quick videos, just me, single camera, and say, hey, this is coming up, and then give a date for when that first one's going to drop.
Yeah. I heard that you've been talking to Tony about cameras and for the Don't Make This Weird.
I have.
And I'm thinking here, because you said to put the mic or the camera on the microphone stand, and I'm like, you could totally see boogers in my nose if that happens.
We'll adjust the angle. If you go a little higher angle,
then you can see my
you can't,
unibrow.
unless they really dangle. Unless they're really dangling down.
She's got some bats in the cave.
Well, as long as they're up in the cave high enough, it's
I'd probably be making funny faces at everybody, just making these scrunchy faces where you can see my cliffhangers.
You would be making it weird if you were sitting there.
Yeah,
that's true. I know, my
You
facial
could use
expressions
it.
are always a telltale.
And that's where your engineer comes in, and you just kind of give them a signal slightly off camera to cut your feed or go to somebody else, and then you do a quick pick, and then you're good to go.
I'm just gonna turn around in my chair like Inspector Gadget, having a cat, just pet it.
Well, if you've watched it, and I mean, I have the like I said, I have the software.
Yeah.
We messed with it the day we were there. But doing the live feeds and be able to cut, but you have to have, it was just you and I. So we were I was running it while we were doing it.
Yeah.
When you have somebody that's sitting in the engineering chair, they can hit the hotkeys and switch between cameras.
And it makes it so convenient because
so it's not always just on.
No. I mean,
awesome.
when you did what we did and recorded the shows, doing the pre-production and stuff, it was kind of to see how the angles were going to go through and translate.
Right.
But when you've got more than one person, talking or in agreeing, and unfortunately you talk over each other, it's great because there was that one shot that you're like, we need one more shot. Where are we going to get the angle from?
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, overhead, make
Right.
it black and white.
Right.
And when you did the playback on a couple of minutes when we were watching it and you just did the overhead shot, it was so cool.
Oh, it was cool.
It was so classic.
It was
man.
awesome.
I'm like, this is incredible. We have to do this.
Yeah. And it was literally, I had 2 really nice GoPros and I had my big Sony HD for the main shot, and then the GoPros for our close-ups. And this overhead is literally, it's a Logitech 1080 webcam.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a high-end webcam, but it's still a webcam. And it's just, I clamped it to a piece of wood and stuck the wood up in the framing of the garage door.
Okay.
Just wedged it in there, tweaked the angle of it, and we're like checking it. We're like, yep, that's good. Well, it's awesome. Then somebody opened the garage door later.
Yeah, I don't know who that was.
Who did that?
I think it was Nate.
I was nowhere near the garage door opener.
I think his name starts with a T and ends with Oni.
No, probably.
Oh, that loser face. Just kidding. Oh man.
Well, no, speaking of Nate, what was really cool is every time we've had a band in the studio here, Nate does one of those panoramic shots and then posts it on the page.
That's awesome.
And it's so cool because you see like this little tiny space and then just this whole room like an exploded view.
Yeah. And there's so many other dynamics that we can go over too that I want to incorporate, but there's also there's ways of, like with the software that I have, you can literally take a phone and get the IP address of the phone and use it. You can literally have that as another stream that the engineer can switch to. So I could, he could have his phone and do a thing like that and cue the engineer and he switches to that phone.
That's great.
And now that's your shot. And then he switches back to the still cams, and just, there's some really cool stuff, but it takes the people. And that's what's happening right now. And that's what's exciting for me is connecting with you. It was like, I started talking to you about it and I'm like, I really want to do this. And you were like, yeah. And I'm like, well, would you come on? And he goes, dude, yeah, let's do this. And then I was like, I'm in Indiana for 3 straight weeks working down there. And I'm like, dude, I goes, you think Nate has some time to do some editing? Cause I'm swamped and I can't, drag everything down to Indiana with me.
Right.
You know, it's just not going to work. Got that huge tower and it's like, so I'm excited about that.
Yeah. And it was funny too, because Nate was like, it's all done now what do I do? And I'm like, you still have to go through and edit in the songs we throw out to of, hey, check this song out. And he's like, oh,
dang it. So close.
Still haven't gotten to that yet.
No.
The fucking monitor won't turn on still.
Huh.
Do I got to bring you a monitor too?
Yeah,
I think so. Because the fucking monitor Tony gave me turned on and worked. I turned it off to go to fucking bed. Turned it on the next day. Nothing. Black screen.
You sure that you don't need to?
Yeah, I smacked it around, unplugged
jiggle
it,
the
plugged
mouse?
it
You
back
need to
in.
jiggle the
Did you blow
mouse or-
into the DVD slot, the CD-ROM?
I blew in the power slot. I was blowing the holes.
None of those are really solutions. None of those really.
They worked.
I turned off the power strip, unplugged it, left it unplugged for about 20 minutes. Went upstairs, ate some food, plugged it back in.
Yeah, I could have brought. Yeah,
Nothing.
I didn't know this was a problem. I could have brought you another monitor.
Tech support.
What do you want me to do?
We'll get it
Do the
squared
hokey
away.
pokey with it.
But he turned himself
No.
around.
Hey, that's the most important thing.
That's
Yeah.
right.
You can turn
I
yourself
played
around.
with the hokey pokey on.
Wrong hokey pokey.
Yeah,
Nate.
I don't know if that
Oh,
was. See,
You do realize Derek is still in the chat.
God damn it.
Oh boy.
so
Derek,
there
plug
it
your
is.
There it is.
There it is. So yeah,
Cool. Very cool.
yeah.
Glad that you were sharing that and that we're going to be able to post that up on our
Oh,
Domains
yeah.
Weird and
We're gonna do
stream.
some cross,
might as well.
pollination or
We got a lot.
platform.
We got a lot going on.
Crossbreeding. Crossbreeding.
We have a lot going on.
Woo!
Speaking of that, though, we went
This
to
part of the Don't Make This Weird podcast brought to you by inbreeding.
Oh,
Oh no.
When your family tree only goes up.
well, I did a segue, but now I can't use that because it totally was not where I was going.
Oh, my bad.
Oh, man.
Welcome, Derek.
You really shit the bed on that one.
I was actually going to talk about the Mitch Gale's Get a Room Comedy Club.
Oh, yeah?
That was fun.
That was a blast.
It was.
We had a lot of fun.
And where's Mitch today?
He stormed the studio last Thursday, and it was
I
great.
know. I keep I miss Chris, and I miss Mitch. The last
should we manifest?
Was Chris here for one of
manifesting?
I think
he was here for
one of them. Yeah.
He stopped in last week with the Bay City Cooperative. We learned a lot of stuff about that.
Those guys were so cool.
They were.
Becky and I, well, I should say Becky found the library for me so I could go to the seed lending library.
Thank you for showing
I knew
him
where
the
the
way.
library was.
What can I say? Joke's on you. I can't read.
Thank you for showing him the way to the library.
But I have a library card now, so I can get a book.
I can show him to the library, but I can't make him read.
I'm illiterate, but I can't spell it.
Oh,
See, I was born with only half a functional brain. I may not be as smart or as good looking as you.
We were hanging out last night. Al and Vince and my buddy Matt came over, and James. We're all in the barn. I cooked steaks. You know how I cook my steaks.
Oh,
know?
yeah.
And so we had steaks and asparagus and mushrooms, and I threw some shrimp on the Barbie. And so we're doing that. And somehow it came up. I think I was doing the voice. I reckon I killed him. I cleaved him in the head. And I can't remember who it was, James or it was Matt. Somebody had never seen it. And so I pulled up the thing on YouTube. I reckon I killed him. I reckon I'm gonna kill you now.
Get some taters.
I'm like, you want to talk about some inbreeding, bro? They're like, who is that guy? I'm like, that's Billy Bob Thornton.
I love that role that he
wrote
played.
And directed that thing.
It was incredible.
Oh, dude. I reckon it made her laugh.
She's reading the chat over there.
Yeah.
Something made her laugh. I reckon it was funny.
Well, Sasha said Hooked on Phonics didn't work for Tony.
No.
And then Kenneth said,
wait, Hooked on Phonics?
Hooked on Phonics didn't work for you.
I thought
Tony
it was
heard
Hooked on
Hook and
Phonics.
would find some sleazy whore down the street.
I mean, it was the hookers and the weed. I'm
She was
just
a
saying.
50-cent hooker. The weed game included.
The hookers and the weed, man. I thought that's where I was.
He's like, I was hooked up with something. I walked away with extra prizes.
Oh, God.
Herpes.
I had to take super pills.
Herpes, the gift that keeps on giving.
Also
It even came with a cookie.
Also, Chris said that he's not really a part-time employee. Well, we didn't say that. We said much needed vacation.
That's right.
Yes. So you guys are having fun, so don't worry about it.
Yeah.
And Kenna said, don't worry, Tony, I can't read either. LOL.
See,
That's awesome.
Hookers on Phonics worked for me.
Now, they can't read, but they typed it out into the chat.
And they both
You
paid
can speak it in, though.
So at least they know how to spell.
It's speak and spell.
They're using the Dragon software. That's what they're
That's
doing.
what it
That's
is.
what it
See?
is.
That stuff
And
is
nobody
shit.
needed to know how to read the little box that said, okay, click for this for English.
No, they had their parents read it for them.
I'm going to use my Dragon software because I can't read too well, but I don't know how to open up the files. I don't read what the names are in the files. Can Dragon read the names of the files for me?
Open the file.
They're all named the file.
The file.
Defile. Defile it.
This thing don't work.
Welcome to Don't Make This Weird. We're very offensive.
You're welcome.
Every Thursday at 8.
Did we start a list yet?
Probably not.
I'd like to apologize to Mr. Vandy Holyfield.
He can't hear so well.
I was getting nervous. I was losing the fight. And then I thought maybe his ear looked tasty, so I bit on it. It wasn't tasty, so I spit it out.
Yeah. I don't know. That's what
So
I
here we
think.
go again.
Chris says, I miss the show. Well, we miss you too, Chris.
We miss you too, brother.
We miss you too. You're not, don't worry. We're
Yeah.
keeping your crooked seat.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
right.
not even sitting in the crooked seat.
Yeah,
Chris.
Nate is. He's
He's keeping it warm for
I'm getting
you.
ass fucked by the fucking pole, Chris. Thanks.
he's rubbing his balls on your seat, Chris. That's how much he misses you.
Oh.
Tainting everything.
He was literally just doing the boot scoot on your chair.
He was
Disgusting.
It's all right. Don't worry. He'll be hungry an hour from now.
No, I'm not giving him the egg roll.
It's
That's Jeremy.
It's no egg roll for you.
It's a spring roll.
No, it's not that small.
Egg roll.
Chris says he likes his crooked seat.
Nate, did you see that I was eating?
And he said, great, Asian taint.
We can cook that on the bar before you too, Chris.
Oh, man.
If you like, we can deep fry it with the cat.
Poor Chris has got like 3 jobs going on. He's on vacation now. And plus he does the podcast on top of the 3 jobs.
Right.
Well, at
So
least he
it's
has
like-
one day of vacation every year.
And he can go to bed thinking about Asian taint tonight on his studio chair.
And apparently you're welcome.
It's all right. I'll bleach it later.
The taint
The
or the
taint?
chair.
The taint or the chair?
The chair.
We're all on the same. We're all, yeah. I was like, wait a minute.
First the chair is
What?
black. Later tonight, it'll be white.
I thought it was Asian, man. Why are you gonna be so racist?
He also said, don't
Black,
iron.
white, Asian.
He says, don't
Korean.
iron out your wrinkles on my seat.
Wow.
I'm gonna iron out more than just the wrinkles, Chris.
Yeah, bleached taint from an Asian. That's weird.
Later, I'm gonna bleach your asshole.
And Kenneth
I'm gonna
says,
give you the Michael Jackson treatment.
Chris says, bleach and iron. And Kenneth says, don't eat the cats. LOL. Oh, they're
Too
all
bad we're
joining
duct
in.
taping them in
What's
the
wrong
pot.
with the cats?
He doesn't want them to eat.
They will not stay in the pot.
That's why we duct tape the red shot.
Oh, no.
Notice how I rolled the L.
That's right.
It's very nice.
Very good.
Oh my goodness.
You white motherfuckers are all bad. You all got to hair.
We're in Home Depot today getting paint. We're working on a remodel.
Okay.
We're remodeling the bathroom and painting this whole house. And we're in there and we're waiting. We got 3 different colors, and then we're getting the 5-gallon pails of paint
Yeah.
because that's easier to splash on the wall than those little cans.
Of course it is.
And while we're sitting there, this Asian lady comes up. She's like, "You do all the paint?" We're like, yeah. And James is with me. James. She goes, "You paint house? You paint house? You paint whole house?" And James is like, "Yeah." And I'm watching. I'm over in the aisle grabbing some more stuff, and I'm watching James. She goes, "Can you come paint in my house?" And James goes, he shakes his head. He's like, no. And he points to me. He goes, talk to him. And I come over and she's like, "Can you do all this paint?" I'm like, "Yeah, we're painting a house right now." She's like, and we just had this discussion how we don't want to do any, we don't have to do any more painting.
Right.
We're doing this for a really good client of ours. So she's like, "Can you do this and this and this? And can you paint?" We're like, "Yes, we can paint." So anyway, so I walk over to this lady. I'm talking to her and she's like, "You give me estimate right now?" "No, I have to literally look at your house."
Right.
"No, I need you give me estimate right now." I'm like, "No, I need to She's okay. I've got, there's a gap in the garage." You know what I'm saying? There's a gap in the garage. I'm like, no, I'm not. At the bottom of the door? I'm like, because then you just adjust the track so the door closes. She's like, "No, in front of the door, before driveway. It's like a 2-inch gap." I'm like, "Okay." I said, "You gotta, fill that with some epoxy. There's some special." "Okay, you come tomorrow and do that? How much you charge?" I'm like, I've never seen it. I don't know what. I have to come look at it. She's like, "Well, how much you?" I'm like, "It's a lot of money." She goes, "Can you come tomorrow?" I'm like, "No, I got stuff that I'm literally picking up supplies for the job we're on. I'll give you a card.
Right.
Call me."
Oh, that's it. You go to hair.
And then I see her 20 minutes later. We're in the checkout, and I see her wander over to the contractor's booth
Yeah.
with this pathetic used can of paint with the paint all spilled over the side, like she's gonna get them to match that color or something. I don't know what she's doing.
Right.
Oh,
And she's
man.
like standing there, she's looking around all frustrated. I could tell she was just clueless. And finally, while we're still checking out, I see her look. Nobody there's other people in front of her, so nobody comes and tends to her.
Right.
And so she just finally turns around and leaves.
Oh wow.
Oh jeez.
I'm like, you poor lady. She's like, but her English was pretty bad.
Yeah.
And I'm like, honey, I'd like to help and take your money, but not today.
I bet you if you went over to her,
but tomorrow.
You give me estimate right now? No, I have to literally come and measure your house to know how much.
Wow.
Yeah. 10 grand. And I'll paint the back bedroom.
Then she would have been like, okay,
you come do now. For 10 grand. Okay. I'm going to need that in cash. And you buy the paint.
Small untraceable bills.
Yeah, and you buy the paint.
you pay me in yens. Now.
4 million again.
4 million yen. That's like $50. What are you doing?
You pay me 250 billion yen right now, bitch. It's done.
Point of fact, just a little bit of trivia for everybody out there. The currency for Vietnamese people, is called the dong.
Oh,
so when you're in,
I'm Korean, asswipe. Shut up.
and you want to, you would trade greenbacks in for dong.
that'd be very scary. They'd be like, okay, that'll be one dong. I'm not giving my dong up.
Actually, over there, the currency is quite depressed.
Oh,
depressed
dong.
It's depressed dong. It's quite depressed.
Huh.
I just got the advertisement the other day.
So it's an innie?
More like an Asian teeny. It's like a martini, but an Asian teeny. So anyways, you can pick up $1 million dong right now. 1 million dong for like $50.
Oh,
yeah.
That's a lot of dong.
So if anybody wants to have a future investment out there in the Vietnamese currency, if it ever goes up in value, you could pick, quite a bit up right now.
Speaking of dong, does anybody know where to find a Retino hooker?
Retino. No.
No Retino hooker.
None for you.
How about 2 grain rice?
You move wrong.
2 grain rice.
No.
1 grain rice.
No.
Half grain rice.
No.
Fuck you. I'm going to cure you later.
I don't know if TF is the fuck. I don't know.
Probably.
So what's a dollar store called over there?
A dong store. You go to where you go? I go to the dong store.
You get everything
dong
for
roll.
everything for dong.
How much for this?
Something dong.
2 dong. How much for this over here? 5 dong. Okay, well, if I get both of them together, you brought it down to 6 dong? No, it's going to be 7 dong. What's wrong with you?
Plus tax.
Plus tax.
Press it. You get to press it.
It's 7 dong plus tax.
Oh, Chris. He says, my dong is worth more than 50.
Yeah, it's at least a 6-piece. Come on. It's at least a 6-piece.
Maybe we need to ask Denise on this question.
And Derek says, ding dong.
Ding dong.
No, that's when you get changed, Derek.
That's what their doorbell sounds like, except it's not ding dong, it's wing wong.
It has been difficult discussing certain currencies with everybody, because if I want to discuss, Iraqi dinar, that's easy, and
right.
Some other currencies that you're, buying and selling, and you go, well, how's your dong doing? You mean my investment in the Vietnamese dong? Yeah, how's your dong doing? It hasn't gone up.
Pretty sure Viagra won't help that.
Yeah.
Cialis, probably not.
I'm trying to drink some water, asshole.
At least you're not reading the chat right now, because holy man.
What is Derek saying about me now?
No, it's not about you. Well, he did say Chris charges too much per centimeter, but Chris also says if dong is dollars in change, is the change coins referred to as twat?
Twat you say?
Twat you say?
Twat.
Dong.
How many twat?
Dong.
50 twat.
Man.
Twat dong 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 twat.
See, Chris, you don't even have to be here. You just have me reading your stuff.
See, the currency is so devalued right now. They don't have change.
So Chris says, how much is the toaster? 7 dong, 18 twat. I hope I'm doing you proud over
How
here.
much is that
Chris.
banana? 2 dong, 12 twat.
12 twat. It'd be twat per pound. Oh, that was bad and gross. See what you're doing?
See, you
See
go
what
to
you've done?
Vietnam,
10 twat per pound.
you get a whole bunch of dong, and then you go to Bangkok and exchange.
Twat 99.
Derek's craving egg rolls.
Oh, he just says he's craving
Oh.
egg.
Das ist nicht gut und das ist ein Scheißkofen. Nein.
Wow, you
Whoa.
Asians speak a different language.
Whoa, the Asian just went full German. What the hell happened?
Well, you know, the Nazis did connect with the Japanese during World War II. So,
And the North Koreans.
yeah,
Because they went communist for a while.
it was quite an unholy alliance.
They tried to push to South Korea, but we kind of went, nah, fuck you, bitch. Bitch slapped the fuck out of them.
Hitler was like, "We are the Aryans. We are the supreme race,
Let's go to Asia.
but we need a lot of technology. Let's hook up with the Japanese. We won't tell them.
The only thing the
better than
Japs are good for is sex dolls. You want good technology, you go to North Korea.
I will take your opinion for that. I'll
Sure.
trust you on that.
But if you go to North Korea, chances are you're not coming back.
Yeah,
So go to South Korea,
Yeah.
go to Seoul.
right. At least you can get a phone
One that works.
or a Kia.
Wait, do they have dong in Seoul?
No, it's yens, you twat.
Twat. Your change.
Twat,
So,
did you speak-
Do you have
did you
twat
say?
in Seoul?
Actually, I don't know what their change is called.
Tang.
Soul. Taint.
Taint.
Hold on, let me count out correctly.
Google that.
I remember like
Seriously, somebody Google that.
Hold
What-
on.
Hold
what is
on
it?
a
Hold on.
Hold on
I
a
know it's not
second
real.
while I count out the proper taint.
One taint. Two taint.
Now
Where
that
do you
one-
keep your change? You don't
Is
want to
that
know.
like the count? Or taint.
This episode brought to you by the letter T for taint.
That's
or
not okay,
twat.
Heather. That's
Hey,
not
it goes back to your taint drum.
Okay, it is called a tank drum, not a taint drum.
No, now it's a twat drum.
So Sasha says, I'm choking on my water. Thanks, Chris. Derek said, the Jew is now not a Jew. Chris says, I hope he doesn't swallow egg rolls like the poor gerbils. And then he also says, the change is called twat. We established that. We did, but I go off on the rails sometimes and change it. So, wow.
So there you go. Now
There you
you
go.
all know the official currency of the Vietnamese is the dong.
The more you know.
Exactly. It's all about being well informed.
Yeah.
Well,
Useless
we
for
are
you.
definitely well informed in this episode on dong.
And if you can't be well endowed, be well informed.
Yes, exactly.
If you can't be handy, at least be handsome. I think it's backwards.
If women don't find you handsome, at least let them find
Oh.
you handy.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah, Kenna says, I am scared to drink because I'm laughing too hard. And Derek says, Chris, I'm not dropping to my knees for you.
But he might for Nate.
Oh, we all know he would for me, and I just got the answer for that. It's called the won.
Oh, Juan.
Juan?
Wait,
Somebody call
South
I have to
Korea-
go exchange Juan for dong.
dong Juan.
South Korean currency is called the won.
Juan.
That makes sense. So if you're in
So don't count it in Spanish. Juan Juan.
Juan.
Two Juan.
dong Juan,
Juan Juan. Dos Juan. Tres Juan.
The
So-
bank is at least called the National Bank of Korea, or at least they still count it as one country.
English translation.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Give me the actual Korean. I want you to hear you say it in Korean.
Fuck you.
That sounds American.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's fluctuations.
So
Fluctuations.
I was just thinking, tonight isn't the opening for Endgame?
Yes.
yes.
Yes, the preview. Yes.
So I heard on the radio today, they said, if you go and watch it, don't spoil it for your friends.
Dude, there's this whole scene
Fuck you, spoil
with
it
the
all.
thing, and then they do this other thing, and then
With the
there's a fight
people.
with the
Yeah.
yeah.
I heard about that.
It was
was
big.
really
Did
cool.
you see the
It was really
explosion?
cool, yeah.
Like
I did not.
there was a
And it takes
And
place on Earth.
Thor was doing that.
Yeah.
And then
Iron Man
Iron Man was there.
and
And
Captain
Hulk-
America.
Hulk-
Suits.
Hulk was Hulk.
That's
and-
right.
Hulk was busting it, and
Right.
yeah.
It was an
Hawkeye
explosion
Yeah,
too.
Hawkeye with the mohawk.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hawkeye, right?
and Black Widow.
Right.
So who's all
and-
going to actually go see it
Tony.
Obviously not tonight.
Hey,
yes.
I just want to point out the fact that I'm pushing for video because 3 of you raised your hands in a studio that is completely audio. Okay. Nobody said, I am. They raised their hands with no video
True.
involved.
It's the Mind Theater.
I'm just bringing that up.
It's for our studio audience.
Yes.
Todd's over there still trying to breathe because he's got dong on the mind. The dude's turning 5 shades of red, man.
He's choking on egg rolls back here.
I have to say, I can't
Spit
wait
that
for
out.
my
That's not yours.
stagnant date.
It's not Derek's either.
Oh my God. Tell the story of this, okay? Go ahead.
Now Becky's turning red. Good fucking going, Tony. Now you broke her.
I broke the Becky.
Oh,
So
she
anyways.
can't breathe. Good going. Don't kill my host, my co-host.
Nate, show her the egg roll.
Hold on. Jump start.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Damn it, I'm not going to lose another one.
I didn't know I was going to be doing color commentary for those that are visually impaired.
You're right.
Podcast.
It's Mind
But
Theater.
Becky has literally pushed the mic away and is doubled over in hysterical laughter.
Well,
that
she's
can
not,
be a,
so,
that could
good
be a
job.
bad-
She's
the show
turning
has
all
the
kinds of
icon.
red.
she's not drooling because Derek broke the Asian. He literally had to leave the studio drooling on himself.
I remember that.
That was so great.
I was drooling, crying, pissing my pants, and trying not to poop.
You're
Sometimes
welcome.
that happens. Sometimes you poop.
It was great.
It's not
Sometimes you
poop. Sometimes you
In
poop.
fact, there's probably a drool spot right by your foot there, Todd.
New carpet.
Derek, come here.
Dude, show your nuts. No, not those.
Laughter does good like a medicine unless you choke yourself out.
Somebody get the comedy news. We need it.
So you're saying it's probably not a good idea to bring up the fact that when I first took CPR, I failed it 12 times and the dummy died.
Oh, I kind of did that too, but they still gave me my card.
Here's the thing you have to remember.
I know.
I'm in
Well, you
10th.
failed and somebody might die if you try to help them, but here you go.
Yeah.
I was
You
in
did a good job.
I was in
trying.
10th grade. I did not have my asthma under control yet.
Yeah.
And they're like, here, breathe into a dummy. So you're going to tell an overweight asthmatic kid who is so not athletic to breathe and give compressions to a dummy.
Huh.
There's something wrong here.
And you got your card.
No,
Oh, you didn't. I did.
I didn't get
Your
And this
first
was not
32
too
attempts
long.
failed,
This
but here's
was-
your card anyway.
Yeah.
So what grade
Okay,
was this,
so-
Tony?
I was in 10th grade.
Yeah.
So you
Mine
haven't
was just
changed
two
since-
years ago.
No.
Mine was 2 years ago. They're like,
Becky's just
Becky.
over here fanning.
Yeah,
I'm
mine-
getting you. I'm gonna have to invest in cameras for you guys.
Disareno for this woman.
Yeah.
Yes.
oh,
Jeremy, you're sharing your Disareno.
You want some nice?
He's got some ice if you want to cool
I got
down.
ice. I got Di Serono. We're good to go.
she's still going.
Oh yeah.
Becky, do you need the waters?
I got the water here.
We have a water here.
Maybe in the fridge that sounds like a carnival or a creepy
yeah.
gremlin.
I love that thing. It lulls me to sleep at night.
Wow.
Yeah. See, there's the fridge. In
It
fact,
is in
I
here and it's clean.
Stick your head
It
in the
was-
freezer.
given to me by Jeremy because he's like, hey, you want a fridge? I'm like, yeah, sure. What do you want? And he pointed to that and he's like, get that thing fucking out of here.
We definitely
I said-
needed it.
I said
in
it keeps
studio.
the fridge keeps freezing shit and the freezer keeps defrosting. Get that thing the fuck out of my barn. He's like, okay,
And there you have it.
I'll take it.
You don't
Is
think
it
It
making
is mine
funny
now.
noises?
It works great. Wow.
yeah, it does make noises.
Yeah.
It
It makes noises, but I mean,
Hey,
But it
it's just
lulls
like
them to
every new
sleep.
relationship.
That's
That's good at the beginning.
that's right.
And then you get to know them. And then you're like, what the fuck did I get into?
I wish this beer was as cold as your heart.
I like
Stick it in the fridge. It'll be fine.
my favorite is take that shirt off before the band breaks up.
Right? Yeah.
You gonna jinx the band?
Yeah.
Oh great, now they're gonna break up.
We've all had that relationship, I think.
Are you okay, Becky?
It's 3 a.m., sweetheart. Spit or swallow.
Oh,
Wow.
I am literally gonna fall off my chair.
Well, don't do that. We're done
So-
at that point.
Anyways, the story goes, I was talking to my daughter on Google Duo because we do that every night. And so Maddie's like, cool, Dad, I'm excited about coming up this weekend. And I said, yeah. I said, you're my date. She's like, for what? And I said, we're going to go see Endgame at the theater. And she's like, awesome. She's like, is anybody else going? I said, well, yeah, Becky's taking Sean because Sean's her date. So we get off the video chat with her. Sean comes breezing through the studio door and she's like, what's up, stud? You're my date. And he's like, I'm gonna go stagnant. Walks out of the studio, walks back into the studio like 2 minutes later. He's like, I don't know why I said that. I think I meant sterile.
That kid is hilarious. Oh my God.
My boy is hilarious. Like the shit that he comes up with.
He came in here after last week's podcast and was just like sitting with us, and the things that he was just rolling with. I'm like,
oh yeah,
this kid could be a comedian. He could do stand up. He's hilarious.
And it's so funny because we've had him on the show a handful of times and he like just freezes up and I'm going, come on. Yeah. And then when the show is over, he's popping off one-liners left, right, and center. I'm like, why did you do that on the show? And he's like, show's boring. And I'm like, what?
It wouldn't be boring if you were to do your shit.
Dude, just do your act, man. Do your act.
Get your act together.
Yeah, no joke.
It's all fake.
It's all fake. Oh my God. Speaking of comedians,
beat it on the dryer and come back.
Speaking of comedians, it's hilarious with you guys. Having Mitch and you guys doing pre-production because his next show,
God.
his Mitch's Fake Radio, is going to be
Mitch's
Monday
Fake Radio
coming up.
Yes.
And if you guys have not tuned into the show, you really have to. And I'm not just saying that because I get guest spots and nobody else does.
Tony still wears the gimp suit.
I really think that there's something going on behind the scenes here because you've been asked several times and you're like, well, you know, I don't think I can do that.
Because he's like, say my name, Mitch. And I'm like, Mitch. So that's what happened. No, I don't know. I'm not really sure.
No, it's cool though. Mitch he's coming up on his 11th episode. Mm-hmm. And after that, he's going to be doing like I think he's going to be doing a best of or something.
That's awesome.
We're still working through the pre-production stuff because it's crazy. You know, when you listen to it and it's only an hour show. I mean, last month we went through and did very minimal pre-production. Mm-hmm. Yet generated a ton of stuff.
Right.
And then we get to the show and he's just kind of like, and then like the hour went.
He's so funny. Like so funny.
Yeah. And he was like, wow, that hour went fast. And I'm like, see, good, crazy stuff.
And Becky's like, who does he do all of the voices? Oh, but the ones I've done.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, but he does. He does all of the voices, all of the stuff. You help him with the pre-production, which is awesome. You know, you've done the music. Tony also has done the music for Survivor Girl podcast too, as well as this show. So kudos.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Yeah.
And
no copyright infringement there.
No.
We own that shit, bitch.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, eat it third-party assholes on YouTube.
Yeah, for sure. So I mean, it's awesome. And then he gets re-aired on Solid State Radio, just like we do.
Yep.
And they're picking up Survivor Girl podcast also.
That is so cool.
So that's over on solidstateradio.net. I got to listen to one of their shows recently where they play all of the local music.
Yeah, I caught some of that too, and it's really cool.
With Adam Hawk.
Yeah.
I did it.
You didn't fuck up his name. Way to go, Heather.
I'm so proud of myself. But
Who
don't
gets
worry.
A gold star today.
This girl.
There you go.
So,
well, it was cool hanging out with Sean at the show.
Yeah.
With Mitch Gill because he always brings his
lady
girl.
Rachel.
Yeah, Rachel's cool.
They're both really cool people, and it's been fun.
So it's great sitting around a table full of podcasters because you know some serious shit's going to go down.
Yeah, don't forget to ask me about that.
Yeah.
So we're there and they're doing the 50-50 raffle, which is awesome because anytime that Mitch has a show, he brings on somebody to help with towards a charity.
Yeah.
And they do a 50-50. Yep, nice. A local charity. And they do a 50-50. And so anyway, so they're doing the drawing for that. And then they do a drawing. First, they do a drawing for tickets. You get a chance to win 2 sets of tickets, I believe. Yeah. 2 sets of tickets. Yep. And then he has the comedians and himself sign the poster for that show.
Nice.
And this was the last show of the season.
For
Yeah.
The 2018 season.
2000. Yeah. So anyhow, I ended up winning that. And he calls me up and he was like, "Oh, it's Heather from the local podcast of Don't Make This Weird." And I'm like, "Oh, hey guys." And at that moment, when I go to walk up, like my back was killing me. And I'm like kind of starting to seize up. I'm like, "Oh, this looks like, gotta stick up my butt or something when I'm walking up." So anyway, after that, Adam's talking to the comedians and he's telling them about my podcast. And so the one that was kind of thrown on there, he wasn't on the poster, Eric Fady.
Right.
Was filling in for somebody else because they couldn't make it. And he's like, I've got a podcast on Detroit podcasts, and he's like, "I'd like to come on your guys' show." So I'm like, "Oh yeah. So I'm talking to him, and Sean's standing there and I'm like, "Yeah, Sean re-airs us on their podcast station, Solid State Radio."
Right.
And I was like, "Oh, that's cool." So he was asking about getting on our show and I'm like, "Yeah, why not?" So then I find out that he had been drinking a lot and he did a tweet.
Yeah.
Well, actually, no.
Or no.
He actually
Facebook
walked
Live?
down to the pub after.
Yes.
And then came back to his hotel room, which he
told
told everybody
where he was going to be.
in the
He's not very lucky with the ladies.
Not very lucky with the ladies.
So he
had to
does
go
it
to
a
beat
Facebook
last year.
Live. That's what it was.
Facebook Live, yes.
And I see this like two days after the fact, and I'm like, "Oh, cool. He wants to come and be on the podcast.
Right.
Hammered.
Yeah.
For the first part, you see his feet
For the
and
first
his
5
waist
minutes.
and his
5 minutes.
hand, and people are like, "Is he getting ready to masturbate?" And I'm gonna be honest, I thought the same thing. I'm like, "Oh, I better click off this. I don't know what's happened with that gun." So I'm just going, I don't know what's gonna but I'm also like, what's gonna happen here?
It's a train
Like a
wreck.
train
You can't
wreck,
look
yeah.
away.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So so I'm just like, okay. So he's talking and slurring. Actually, really is what's happening. He's talking about the show and. I'm so excited. And I'm like, "Oh wow!" I wonder how hammered he was when he was talking to me, and if he's going to even remember wanting to be on the Don't Make This Weird podcast.
Right.
Most of our guests are hammered when they sign on, I think.
This is true.
No. Or during the podcast.
What? The man says what with a drink in his hand?
It's Diesel Rona on ice.
Diesel Rona on the rock.
On the rocks. On the
Rocks granted by the intern.
Intern
that was-
supply the rocks.
So that was pretty
Intern, you
interesting.
rock.
Are they opium rocks?
They might be.
Slippery slope, my friends.
Yeah, well,
Slippery slope.
Hey, Nate, you rock.
That's it. More opium for you.
Oh. High fives all around.
He will be.
Free hugs in the shower.
But yeah, so that was pretty interesting. I'm just like, oh, all right.
Can you pass me the soap?
Hand comes out from behind you. Hey, what the hell? I climbed in here alone.
Oh, here's the rock salt. Yes.
No, in the cup. In the cup. Damn
Close
it.
enough.
Oh, to a dark place this goes.
I'm just saying the coffee cinnamon soap is incredible.
It goes as far as it goes. That's it.
Coffee is incredible also. We stopped at Big B
Yes.
today.
Yes, you have to tell a story.
And I do
about
have to tell a little bit about that too, because I like the sugar-free frozen mocha, and for some reason, once in a while, the frozen part skips my mind, and I don't say it. So I'm ordering for Becky and myself because I am a whore for Big B. Just saying, this is just
I think
Birthday.
Bad influence.
will work for Big B.
will work for Big B.
Yeah.
And-
This episode not sponsored by Big B.
No, but I'm working on it,
it.
guys.
She's working on
She
it
is
single
working on
handedly.
I'm
it.
working on it. But so I asked him for a spoon instead of a straw because I eat my Big B like ice cream because that's what I like. And she kind of stops and she looks at me like, "You're gonna eat your hot coffee with a straw, you freaking weirdo." I'm like, "Oh shit." So I'm like, "No, actually I wanted it frozen." They're halfway getting ready to make, And I'm like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I just automatically assumed that you could read my mind." And I'm like, I've got so much stuff going on.
Yes.
I have 3 podcasts I'm helping out with and on whatever. And I'm just like, sorry about that, guys. They're like, "Oh, no big deal, So they make up the awesome mochas for us. And I'm like, here's a card. I'm gonna mention you guys on the Don't Make This Weird podcast. Also, the receipt now is a business
Shameless plug.
transaction.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it was. But thank you, baristas in Saginaw at the
Yes, that
Big
was
B.
an
We
amazing
appreciate
drink.
it.
Yes.
That it was really awesome that it was frozen and you guys didn't mind making that for me and giving me my order with a spoon instead of a straw. I can't use straws.
Yeah.
That's another part of my weight loss journey. I can't use straws, but also a cool part of the weight loss journey. I can actually sit Indian style now or crisscross applesauce. Fuck you guys. I call it Indian style.
Isn't that what we grew up with?
Yes.
We grew up with Indian style, but it's probably politically incorrect.
It
now.
is.
Yes, it is. So now it's crisscross applesauce.
Did we not?
Fuck the government.
Got them riled up over there.
Wow.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
The
Asian is
Asians
not
spouting off about
fucking the
us
government.
being-
Hey, woo!
Yeah.
Say cocksucker.
Shoot him in the back. Shoot him in the back.
Yeah. So anyway, that was another strange thing.
I was going to say, and Heather also welcomed me to the loser's bench.
I did.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, she did.
I'm
Totally.
like, welcome to the loser bench, lady.
We're sitting there eating our
Nice.
lunch, and I could only eat half of my lunch. And I sent a nice little text Tony telling him he's a jerk because I'm eating better and I can't eat as much. And she welcomes me to the loser
Hey,
bench.
welcome to the loser bench.
Yeah.
She totally threw me out of the bus. She's just
What a
like,
bunch
you're a
of
jerk.
losers.
I know, right?
Just keep losing and
Yeah.
losing and losing.
I'm proud to say I am down to 212 pounds from 227.
Gosh, dang it.
Wow.
Stop. I'm trying to catch up and pass you.
Not going to happen.
Well, he is predisposed to lose it faster than
He's so
I am.
slim down,
I
it looks like
know.
a middleweight. Not.
Gonna be a featherweight.
I will give him some cat.
No. I
He
don't-
tried to suck
Well-
his gut and his head exploded.
what's her name?
Kablammy.
Which one, Kathleen or Laura?
Oh,
Eh,
man.
she said she
Awesome,
loved
though.
me. What do you want?
Awesome. I'm glad like
More
we
cat?
all have kind of been on that whole, weight loss thing and being healthier and all
I
that
keep
fun
getting
stuff.
shit from people because they're like, because of you, I've lost weight. I'm like, why is that a bad
Like,
thing?
unless you are like 85 pounds, why are you bitching at me?
Well, yeah, because they're like, oh, I'm eating healthier and I'm drinking water. I hate water. And I'm like, you're really violent for
Maybe-
being a person who's feeling better.
It's just a simple psychology. They don't want to go, I was living really bad and eating a lot of shit.
Right.
You're the one who made me wake up and do it. And I don't think I want to ascribe to you that much credit. So therefore, I'm going to espouse criticisms
You're a
and
big jerk.
ridicule onto you. And
Yep.
rather than say, thank you, Tony,
Right.
you're going to go, fuck you, Tony, I'm losing weight.
Fuck you for making my pants not fit.
I was
Fuck
going to say,
yeah.
did you actually read that text? Because that's pretty much
Pretty
how
much what it
went.
was?
Yeah,
Yeah.
basically.
Hey,
Yeah.
Tony, just
Yeah.
want to say, fuck you very much.
All right. Hey. Fuck you very much, too.
All right,
Free
buddy.
hugs in the shower.
All right, buddy. All right, pal.
Hey, no fuckbacks.
Oh God. Dang. I don't
But no,
harder.
it's so funny because, like,
Oh man.
I can do it better than that.
Oh, don't touch that.
What's
Oh.
oh, I was going to say, I was actually at rehearsal Wednesday night, and it was so funny because the bass player was talking to me. He's like, dude, what are you doing? And I'm like,
I'm trying to play guitar. What the fuck you think? I'm doing?
right.
just strumming my
He's like,
guitar.
no, man, because your guitar used to stick out like this, and now it's like flat against your stomach. And I'm going,
It's a
this?
smaller guitar, motherfucker. I was playing acoustic. Now I play electric.
Thanks for noticing.
Thanks for noticing.
So it was hilarious.
It's got an extra string.
The praise and worship leader was just like, dude, like you suggesting how you're doing the whole fasting thing and blah, 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 blah. He's like, I can't eat as much as I used to. That's incredible. He's like, I'll go to Taco Bell and smash, a 20 pack or whatever.
Right.
And he's like, I can barely get down 5 now.
It is. When you start eating healthy, you actually eat less.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because you're not taking in empty carbs and just loading up on it. So it's
That's what's
good stuff.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, the intermittent fasting, which was funny because, I grew up in the church of, the Old Testament stuff where you fast this
It's violent in here.
straight off the forehead, dong.
Dong.
Another reason for cameras, but anyway.
There is a reason for Are we playing throw the bottle around the room?
Sure.
Now?
And yeah.
And it
Yeah.
stops there.
It goes right back to
armed
point
him
A.
again.
Well, it caught a breeze off of Tony because he's so aerodynamic.
That's
now
right.
that it fucking veered over.
But no, it was great because Keith actually brought it out to me. And I'm like, dude, I've got to do something drastic to change because 227 pounds on this frame is not okay. He's like, fast.
Yeah, what are you, like 5'3"?
5'5", actually.
You look like T-Rex.
Yeah. I mean, but so he's like, dude, fast. Start eating at 10 a.m.
Right.
Stop eating at 6 p.m. From 6 p.m. to 10 a.m., don't eat.
Right.
I'm like, is it really
It
that?
forces your body into a different mode.
Right. And I'm thinking to myself, is it really that easy? Just not eat?
I got two other buddies that I play hockey with.
Yeah.
That are doing the same thing, and slimming right. Just, and they weren't heavy, but they were, wanted to lose some extra weight, and they slimmed right down. I mean, just doing a fast. They do a morning fast, and then they eat a huge lunch.
Right.
And then do a smaller dinner.
Right.
And then fast until
It's the German diet.
Well, it's incredible because like
in the concentration camps.
Right.
Well, they do a small breakfast, huge lunch, tiny dinner, and nothing after that.
Yeah. I don't.
Because it forces metabolism. Because you eat a big lunch, and then your body has more time to digest it, and then you metabolize throughout the day.
Right. Right.
Well, it's incredible because from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m., if I'm like, having a craving for something, I'll just slam a bottle of water and it's gone. And it's funny because I'm like, okay, so I've got 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. I have to actually start planning my meals now of what I'm going to eat.
Right.
Because you have a very small window. And if you're going to be, strict with it and stick to it.
Yeah.
I'm like, So, and I didn't realize it until like I went to sit down and made me this great dinner one night. And I got maybe a quarter of the way through it. I'm like, I can't eat all of this.
Exactly.
What is going on?
Well,
Here, intern.
Well, right. And Keith's like, dude, your stomach is shrinking.
Exactly.
And I'm going, that happens?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Just a little bit of, I've told a number of people, I'm like, just fast for a day.
Right.
Your stomach will shrink
right.
in just a day. And then when you go to eat the next time, it will not have the capacity that it had before. And you'll literally force yourself into a smaller caloric intake. And then if you choose better food, you'll get energy and not as much just useless carbs.
And it's been an incredible journey for me because I started this back in, I think, February, I think it was.
Yeah. Because it was like 3 or 4 days before my birthday.
Yeah. And like, I don't see it, but everybody's like, damn, girl, what you doing? And I'm like, stuff.
Nothing, bitch. Same garbage, different dumpster.
Right.
Oh, God.
So it's weird for me because,
Man, I'm on a roll tonight. The fuck is wrong with me?
Well, I mean, seeing Heather and her incredible transformation.
Absolutely.
She did a side-by-side photo that she sent me, and I'm just like, oh my God, that's not even the same person.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing too, like even with the weight loss surgery, and a lot of people don't understand that you still have stalls. It's not like it's not all going to fall off right away.
Right.
So I'm like on 7 months since my surgery now, and I have lost 121 pounds, but that was all together.
That is incredible.
That's from the beginning of the journey though too. That's not just from surgery. But I had somebody actually say to me, "Oh, I thought that like you would lose a lot more weight," and I'm like, "What?
I lost a person.
You lost a whole person,
right?
I lost more than a supermodel,
right?
Lost half a stripper."
So when you hear the different things, and then you get on a stall or whatever, the best thing that you can do is just because the scale isn't moving doesn't mean that you're not losing inches,
right?
Regardless of whether you've had the weight loss surgery or you're doing it on your own or whatever.
Right.
You're welcome.
Yes, thank you. Because I'm like, okay, I'm gonna look at my pictures, my side-by-side pictures, so I can see, and I'm like, okay,
right,
I see it.
Right.
So I'm not beating up on myself. I'm not being bad to myself about stuff, and it's like, okay. So for people out there, just support people that are losing weight and they're trying, because 6 pounds, 5 pounds, it's still losing weight. You're still losing weight,
right?
So don't be a dick and just be supportive.
Rule number 1,
don't
be a dick.
And Heather, the other thing you have to think about is you have all that skin that's
I do.
now.
Yeah.
And how much does that weigh?
That's another thing. So there's a meme out there with like Jessica Rabbit, and it says with clothes on, and then it says with clothes off, and it's got ET. That shit is true. It's true. So eventually I will be going in and getting the skin removal. And generally though, they do say that it's like 20 plus pounds of just that, because when you're that heavy, like I was 350 pounds, like I'm not embarrassed now to say that, but that's what I was at 5'1". So I mean, you got to think about that. I still want to like put stock in like the K tape or whatever the hell that stuff was, so I can like keep my bingo wings and stuff up. But I'm still regardless of that though, like I'm proud of it. Even though, you know, you look at it and you're just like, oh yeah, I got a butt stomach. What the fuck?
It's red in the crack.
But I'm healthy. I'm healthier.
Sushi day.
We're gonna work today.
So
we're gonna work hot today.
So I'm healthier.
Absolutely.
I can keep up. I can, you know, my energy levels are up like crazy. I helped where Adam works out, and you seen my Fitbit, like how many steps I had.
It's insane.
Fucking 13K. Are you serious?
Yeah. So before, imagine
I get that every time I pick up the impact drill. My phone goes, my watch goes off. Ding! Oh, you've reached your steps today. I was like, I was stupid. Was using an impact drill.
So yeah,
starts yelling at you, you stupid motherfucker.
You reached your step climbing today. No, I was swinging whatever. I was swinging a hammer.
Forget it.
Apparently the Samsung watch doesn't know.
So I'm glad that you guys are on the journey too, and thank you for the support.
I was going to say, well,
Absolutely.
It was an amazing feeling today when Heather's sitting there going, wait a minute, we didn't stop.
Yeah.
Becky, we didn't stop. We walked from the parking space inside
the
stadium almost to the bathrooms,
right?
And
I'm
just
stopping.
like,
she's like
sorry, I don't think you said
stop.
I don't think you said sorry, but you sat down and you're just like, and I'm like,
sit now.
Yeah, that's what she said. I have to sit now, and I'm like, that's
she's
okay.
Like, you didn't stop.
We didn't stop. We used to stop a lot in the way, you know. And so I'm like, hell yeah, girl, keep it going.
Yeah,
right
you know. So it's being supportive of people. Even the littlest things are a big thing.
It's the damn stairs. I'm telling you.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, come to my house. We'll get in shape with the 2-story stairs.
Yeah,
run up and down them. Run up and down them. Up and down them.
Yeah. Well, I used to tell her, I'm like, well, I told her today, I'm like, I used to hate them damn things. I hated those stairs.
Yeah.
I'd have people like come and get my stuff.
In the basement?
Yes, pretty much.
Yeah.
I was like, well, somebody can go upstairs and grab my shit for me because I'm not sending those assholes. It's not happening.
You know, it's so funny because every house that I've been in, I've been on the bottom floor, and there's generally a bunch of stairs. So I'm like, well, let's do this because if I want, you know, that Snickers bar, get your ass up those stairs. And since there's 2 where you'll get turn and then up the next set of steps. And I'm infamous for defying gravity because I will fall upstairs.
So will I.
And
So will I.
I don't think I've ever fallen downstairs, but I've definitely fallen upstairs.
I've fallen down a few sets of stairs.
Yes.
I fall up
your
more than
toe.
I fall
Yeah.
down.
Yes.
And you fall forward.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, my shins hate me for that.
Yeah.
Well, you guys are talking about like not eating after a certain time. Like I'm over here dying, and Adam's like, I got your food for you. I'm like, I will enjoy those 4 bites. I do not care what time it is right now. Because after, like, here's another little thing. If I don't eat, I get really super sick because I don't have a lot of room in my stomach now.
Right.
So at this time, it's like, okay. He's like, what did you eat today? I was like, I think like 5 bites of nacho.
Yeah.
I'm so good. It was good stuff though. Like it wasn't like horrible.
Well, and speaking of that whole eating clean and eating healthy, you're on a bunch of vitamins and supplements and minerals and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's funny because every time somebody comes into the studio and sees my caveman mixture, they're laughing. They're like, caveman.
What is that?
It's bone broth, dude.
Right.
They used to like take the bones and they would grind them up.
Yeah.
Before we have our highly processed, westernized, horrible diet.
Yes.
They would use the whole animal, and not in the ways that we do now where it's, you know, making jello, but they would take the bones and they would literally grind them up and they would put that in their bread. In fact, there's one advertisement for the caveman where they say that rhyme, fee fi fo fum, I smell the blood of an Englishman.
Right.
Be they foe or be they friend, I'll grind their bones to make my bread. It's
Right.
literally they're grinding. They would grind up the bones and put that bone meal into the bread, and they would get all of the nutrients from the bone. Eating a good ham. We've had some great ham bone soups that Bill's made.
Yeah.
So you take the ham bone after Easter or whatever, you cook a big ham.
Yep.
You take the bone and whatever's left on it, whatever ham's left on it, and you cook it. And it literally, when you slow cook that for a long time, it pulls the nutrients out of the bones,
out of the marrow.
And if anybody knows about anything about anatomy or anything, the bones are what produces your blood.
Yeah.
So there's so much in the animal bones. There's so much nutrition in there. And so, I mean, that's why it's good for animals, specifically for dogs, to eat.
I got excited into my phone.
Raw food with bones. They say you don't feed your dog cooked food with the bones in it. But if you give them you give your dog a chicken leg that's been uncooked, they get the bone that they can chew on, and it's good for their teeth. But it's also nutritious. So there's a ton of stuff. But I take a whole bunch of vitamins and minerals. And for a long time, the people were really focused on vitamins, and that's good. But you've got to have all of it. You got to have the vitamins and the minerals. And the minerals are because the reality is most people, if they're taking a multivitamin or more specific, taking specific vitamins that they need, they don't realize that the minerals are so essential. You need trace elements of all the minerals that are in the earth. We're literally, when it says in Genesis that we were created from the earth, from the dust of the earth.
Right.
So our whole bodies are oriented to consuming that which is of the earth. And so we got to have trace elements of all this. And those trace elements, having magnesium and calcium and
colloidal silver.
Colloidal silver, that's huge.
Yeah.
And I came down with that flu, the influenza A. That was horrible.
Yeah.
But I had my colloidal silver, and so I've got it in eyedroppers, and you're not supposed to do it all the time.
Right, because you'll turn blue.
But when you're dealing with something, that colloidal silver will attract the negative it's a negative ion, and it'll attract those those viruses and stuff to it and flush it out of your body. So when you are dealing with something, sickness, then you take it. So I was doing the dropper like 4 or 5 days in a row.
Yeah.
And then I went another week, and then I felt a little bit reoccurring. So I took a couple more droppers, and then I don't take it until I feel,
See, and that's what's incredible is there's so much stuff out there that you need to educate yourself on vitamins and minerals and stuff like that. Because most of the stuff you're just going to piss out. Yeah. Because it's not, it doesn't.
It's not absorbing.
Right.
You're taking a whole bunch of, there was
water soluble vitamins.
There was a guy that was, I can't remember the whole scenario of the story, but he was a Porta-John guy.
Yeah.
He delivered and picked up Porta-Johns, and they asked him what this huge pile was in the back of his property.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, those are all undigested vitamins that I pull out of the Porta-Johns.
Wow.
And it was literally this pile of undigested vitamins that he just couldn't take. They wouldn't let him dump it in, where he dumped the rest of the Porta-Johns. They're like, you gotta filter that crap out of the crap.
Right.
Because we're not going to put that into the water, into our filtration system. Cause we got lithium and all sorts of other crap in our municipal water supplies because people are flushing their drugs and stuff down the toilet.
Right.
Sometimes inadvertently because they're not getting digested. So it's highly important to be educated on
Absolutely.
what you're taking, because you've got to, it's just like we've talked about gardening, partner gardening or sister gardening, where you put your marigolds with your green beans or your tomatoes so that certain bugs don't attack it. It's the same thing with your vitamins and minerals. Whatever vitamins you're taking, make sure you have the right minerals so you digest them properly.
Well, the list that you had gave me just for some of the stuff that we were talking about, because I obviously this health kick is paying off.
Absolutely.
But the bodies is incredible stuff.
I played hockey yesterday, and I took my bodies this morning, just because I would be sore as hell.
Then you got the carnivore, which is incredible.
Absolutely.
Tell
carnivore is I'll hesitate to look up carnivore because you'll know who it's from.
Right.
And I don't want you guys to get kicked off of YouTube because of who actually makes it. But carnivore is literally, I'm a heavy duty meat diet. I just crave meat. I love meat. And I'm not iron deficient. So it's just my orientation. Some people are more vegan, that's great. Do what diet works for you,
right?
But know what your balance is and know what you need to supplement. So I take carnivore, and carnivore is literally a probiotic for high meat diets. And since I've started taking it, I can sit down and eat a steak like I normally would. I'd eat a nice ribeye that I cook myself, and I would feel sluggish and feel fatigued after eating the steak. And I would, just chalk it up as, it was a good steak. It must be good. It's now I eat that steak and I take my carnivore on a regular basis, and I don't feel fatigued and sluggish because my body's working overtime to try and digest it. I feel good because I'm taking a probiotic that has the nutrients in it and literally the bacterias and enzymes that help digest that we all had when we were younger. Yeah. Right. They were all in our digestive system, but our digestive system is having at least one, if not healthy, we should be 2 to 3 movements a day through your digestive system. Right.
Exactly.
So your digestive tract, your intestinal tract is constantly being flushed.
Yes.
And if you're not getting it through your flora, through your garden, okay, your natural garden, not necessarily the processed stuff they're selling us in the stores.
Well, your day-to-day sustenance that you're taking in.
You've got to replenish that flora and fauna in your digestive tract because it's getting flushed out pretty much every day.
Yeah.
And so you've got to take a good probiotic and even a prebiotic so that the food you're eating, which hopefully is much more healthy, gets processed properly and gives you energy and gives you, and restore. I mean, you can heal your body. You can rebuild, I don't want to say healing, but you can rebuild your body if you're taking the right nutrients in the right proportion. People have had cartilage regrow in their knees and had, their eyesight's return because they're just eating better and they're taking the right nutrients. They're taking the right vitamins and minerals and they're being processed properly. So I take the carnivore because it's specific for meat diets, and I'm a heavy meat diet. I love red meat, and that's how I am.
And that's what our bodies are designed to do is to heal itself from the inside out if you're taking in the right sustenance.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
The next one that I have on the list here is the Myco ZX Plus.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now
that one, Myco ZX Plus is specifically for, so you do prebiotics and probiotics.
Right. Those
are literally biotics. They're bacteria. And if you don't realize how much your body is made up of foreign bacteria, I remember reading a Discovery article, I think a couple of years ago, Discovery magazine, and it said we're up to 93% or 97% bacteria.
Right.
Our whole bodies. So we're literally a host for all these foreign bacterias, but the vast majority of them are supposed to work symbiotic with us.
Of course.
It's when we get the ones that aren't working symbiotic that things go awry.
Yeah.
Myco ZX is not a biotic. It's for some people deal with candida and some people deal with fungus.
Yeah.
Which candida is a form of fungus. So there's fungus and there's other stuff in your gut. And so your probiotics and your prebiotics deal with bacteria or that's helping digest things, but the Myco ZX deals with fungus and helps to cleanse out any fungus. So you take it, I take one a day, and it's a maintenance thing. If you're starting out in the beginning of it, you take more than that, and it helps to flush out anything, and then you take one a day because it helps maintain it. So
what was the one that was the had turmeric in it, which
was the one you mentioned already. That was the bodies.
Yeah.
And if you look up bodies has the absolute highest level of turmeric that you can get on the market right now.
Yeah, it's incredible.
And turmeric is the benefit. Just look up turmeric, because the benefits of turmeric in your body to be able to, and again, this is all balanced. You got to have turmeric. You got to have these other probiotics, the prebiotics. If it's the middle of winter, take some vitamin D, and don't get the crappy stuff.
Yeah.
Do a little bit of research and get some good vitamin D, because your body produces a specific type of vitamin D.
Right.
You're not going to get this from the milk that's been pasteurized and boiled down.
No.
Okay. You're going to get specific good vitamin D. Research it. I do a specific vitamin D through the winter to keep my energy level up, because we're deprived of the sun.
Of course.
And then when I get into the, spring and summer and fall, I'm out in the sun as much as I can and catching rays, and my body's producing vitamin D, and you notice your energy level go up. It's not just because it's warm,
right?
It's because your body's producing that.
Well, and speaking of producing stuff, the next one is you told me about was Brain Force. That one was incredible because I almost immediately noticed after I think it was like an hour and a half.
Absolutely.
Taking that where boom, I was just plugged in and I'm going,
yeah,
what is this?
It'll take it's a brain boost, and it's also has an energy level because once your brain is more active, it translates into your body. And I think I shared what I gave you all of the stuff that I took that I take. I just handed a handful of all my stuff and said,
you're like, here, take this.
Try this today. And Brain Force is phenomenal. Brain Force is literally what it is. And so if you're sluggish and later in the day, whatever, you pop a couple Brain Force, and literally your brain, it's not quite what was that movie with Bradley Cooper? It's not quite
I know the one you're talking about.
Where he takes the little clear pill and all of a sudden he's he can remember all the calculus that he did in high school. And it's not quite that. But it does bring it takes the fog away is what it does. And your testimony. You took one, one. I gave you one Brain Force. And within an hour you're like, it dawned on you. Because I know it hit quicker than that. But it was an hour where you went, whoa, wait a minute. I'm zoned in. I'm thinking clear. The fog's lifted. Right. And so that's another great one.
But it's
look those up. Look those names up and check them out.
Educate yourself on this
Educate yourself. That's the big thing. And it's not just one. I have a number of them from one person or one group, and I have some from another group. Some of the other ones that you haven't mentioned yet, but some of the other ones that are joint health and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
But look them up because, but find the highest quality of what you're deficient in. I would suggest if you don't know yourself, if you don't know your body, I would suggest you go to a holistic doctor.
Yeah, absolutely.
And have a test done and see what you're deficient in, because they're not going to get that from a regular doctor. They're going to tell you, they're going to give you some narcotics and tell you to stop. No, but go to the holistic doctor and get that going.
Yeah, get those answers. Educate yourself, definitely.
Absolutely, because it's all about us living healthy, and we live such a comfortable life in America, and our food is so highly processed that if you don't educate yourself, it really comes down to your own responsibility whether you're going to live healthy or not.
Yeah, absolutely. You have the freedom to do so do it. Live healthy. What do you got to lose?
Absolutely.
Guys, that was a really quick episode.
Is it over already?
Yeah, at really that quick. Time already. I know, you guys.
Go.
So I just want to thank everybody for tuning in as always on Thursdays. Oh, what?
Shameless plug.
Shameless plug.
30F will be in studio.
Yeah.
When?
May. Yep.
Are we scheduled for May 9th?
Calendar. I believe so. Yeah. Hold on. Let me go ahead and pull it up.
I gotta do the shameless plug because my boys. Wojo said it Monday at practice.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's
May
like,
9th.
Yeah. He says we got to practice some of those acoustic. He's like, and I found I think he said he's got some bongos or something. So he's coming in. He's going to be drumming.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So sorry. Now you can end the show. Shameless plug. 30F will be in studio.
We definitely have to do the shameless plugs.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Hey, they plug Mitch Gill and Survivor Girl and everything. Yeah. I got to get that in there.
That's
30F
right.
will be here.
30F will be in studio on May 9th on the Don't Make This Weird podcast. So Jeremy will be back with 30F.
Oh, yeah.
That's right.
And let me tell you guys.
I give you a rock and sing.
Yes. Awesome. So thank you guys for tuning in, listening to all of our shameless plugs because we are doing all kinds of stuff.
That's right.
Here.
We are everywhere all the time.
And you never know where we'll pop up.
You never know where we'll pop up. That's true. So, all right, guys, thank you for tuning in. We'll see you again next Thursday at 8:00. And our next guest will be... Crispy Bacon's coming back.
Crispy Bacon. Love that dude.
He
bought in 3
more
pounds of
pounds.
bacon, man.
I know. That's awesome.
Great.
Oh, wait a minute. No, he's coming on the 2nd.
Get it right.
I have nobody
Sister.
next. I don't have anybody next week.
Really?
Not right now, but I'll have somebody. Don't worry, guys. I got this. And for my next trick, anyway.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and
Absolutely.
Get the word out. Be epic to each other. Educate yourself. We'll see you next Thursday.
Yeah.